Good morning and welcome. It is so terrific for us all to be together today for the in-person commencement ceremonies for the classes of 2020 and 2021. I'm Erwin Chemerinsky. I'm incredibly fortunate to be the Dean of the University of California, Berkeley School of Law. The graduates we recognize today with their JD degrees, LLM degrees, JSD degrees, and PhD degrees are a diverse population from all over the globe. This is an occasion to celebrate their hard work and their accomplishments, which qualified each of them to join the profession that's responsible for ensuring justice in our society and across the world. Today's joyful ceremony is unique in the history of UC Berkeley. The classes of 20 and 21 have already received their diplomas, but the pandemic prevented us from gathering to acknowledge and to celebrate their impressive accomplishments. I also know that many members of these classes were unable to return to Berkeley for this ceremony. We welcome them via live stream, and we celebrate each of them as well. As students, your education, as well as your commencements, were changed by the pandemic. Your perseverance through adversity bodes well for your careers in dealing with all that might confront you. None of us got here on our own. I think it is only appropriate to begin by recognizing and thanking so many of us who got us to this point in time. First, each of our graduates was helped enormously before and during law school by parents, by partners and spouses, and by children. You've guided the graduates and been there for them through the hard work and ups and downs inherent to any law school program. You provided financial support, emotional support, and love. I would like to ask all of the parents, partners and spouses, and children of the graduates to stand. And I'd like the class of 20 and 21 and everyone here to join in thanking them. Every aspect of the law school is implemented by a tremendously talented group of administrators and staff. Most of all, they are committed to our students and providing the best possible educational experience. I would like to ask all of the associate and assistant deans, and all the librarians and administrators and staff of the law school to rise so we can thank them. Ultimately, the quality of any school is a product of two key components: the students and the faculty. Our faculty taught the classes of 2020 and 2021 in the classrooms, yes, on Zoom, in their offices, in the halls, in their homes. They've imparted great knowledge of the law and hopefully wisdom and inspiration as well. By every measure and standard, it is a superb faculty, and I am so very proud to be a part of it. I would like to ask my colleagues, the law school faculty, to rise and be recognized. This year, we lost two members of the Berkeley Law community. The class of 2020 also has lost two members. I would like to say a few words about each of them, and then I'll ask you to join me in a moment of silence. Professor Lucinda Sykes was a member of the legal research and writing, written oral advocacy faculty for 20 years at Berkeley Law. She came to Berkeley Law after working as a litigator with U.S. PIRG and Public Citizen. In those roles, she testified before Congress and argued before the United States Supreme Court. Lucinda was a beloved teacher, mentor, and friend who left a deep and lasting impact on her students and her colleagues. Professor Steve Sugarman joined the Berkeley Law faculty in 1972. He taught towards to many generations of Berkeley Law students, including a class of 1Ls this academic year. He twice served as our associate dean. Steve was an extremely influential thinker and scholar in the fields of education law and injury law. His ideas and advocacy impacted the law in countless ways. Steve embodied Berkeley Law's public mission and community spirit, and we will miss him enormously. As I mentioned, the class of 2020 also lost two members. Nick Calcaterra was from St. Louis. He was an accomplished student, medical researcher, and patent attorney. He was a graduate of the University of Missouri with a bachelor's degree in biochemistry, and the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, received a PhD in molecular biology and pharmacology. He was a patent lawyer with the San Francisco office of Wilson Sonsini in Palo Alto. Brian Lewinstein was from Santa Monica and earned his bachelor's degree in political science from UCLA. He was committed to social justice issues and was looking forward to a career in public interest law, helping people in underserved communities. The East Bay Community Law Center and Equal Justice America created a permanent Brian Lewinstein Chair at EBCLC in celebration of Brian's life. Brian and Nick are greatly missed by their classmates. So please join me in a moment of silence in remembrance of Lucinda Sykes, Steve Sugarman, Nick Calcaterra, and Brian Lewinstein. Our tradition is that each year, the LLM and JD classes each choose a speaker. Since we're celebrating the commencement of both the class of 2020 and the class of 2021, we're hearing from 4 speakers from these classes this morning. We'll hear first from the class of 2020 LLM degree program graduate, followed by the class of 2020 graduate, JD graduate. Then we'll hear from the class of 2021 speakers. The class of 2020 LLM graduate speaker is Christian Stefanov. Christian is a Bulgarian citizen, received his first law degree from University of Paris, Pantheon-Sorbonne. He held previous positions at Deckert in Paris and is currently working as an associate at White & Case in London. Christian graduated from Berkeley Law with his LLM as a member of the Dean's List in 2020. Please join me in welcoming Christian.
Good morning and welcome. And to my fellow batchmates from 2020, it's been a long wait. It's been 2 years of monitoring the COVID statistics and wondering with every downtick, is it finally going to happen? Are we finally going to have a commencement, a return back to normality, and a reunion that we all needed? And we're finally here right now. So, as a first, I think we should give a bit of a thank you note, and by a bit, I mean a massive one, to Berkeley for organizing this, and not only organizing it, but doing it right at the best possible venue with a wonderful attendance. It is just, I couldn't have pictured a better moment, and I hope you all feel the same. And it is, thank you. It is a strange cocktail of emotion, isn't it? The one that we're enjoying right now. I'd say it's one part relief, one part nostalgia, and two parts excitement, all stirred up together. I think I'd like to move forward by going back a little bit in the journey that we've all taken together, what we got out of Berkeley, and where we've been over the past 2 years, and maybe even what's next, if time permits. As a first note, I just want to acknowledge those of us who couldn't make it here today. A lot of our classmates couldn't make the long trip. A lot of our close ones couldn't make the long trip here. And to them, we want to say, you're here with us in spirit. We miss you very dearly. We hope to see you soon. And tonight, we'll celebrate in your honor as well, and we will do you justice. So this journey started in August 2019, a time that is, by all means, what appeared to be much simpler than the one right now. It started not far away from here in Bald Hall at, I believe it was Amphitheater 100, where we were greeted by the ADP office. We were given those pieces of paper, and we had to go and introduce ourselves to the people sitting next to us, find somebody interested in human rights, find somebody interested in bankruptcy, good luck there. And that was an awkward moment, but it gave start to something that was really amazing, and it actually worked out. I still have that piece of paper at home, and I still have the names of those people that I met that day, and we are still friends, so that was amazing. So an LLM degree in class of 2021 will probably share this thought as well, but it requires a lot of sacrifice, and especially for our two classes. Not only does it take leaving everything that you have back home, leaving all of those people and leaving your life behind to come here for 1 year, and it also takes a lot of perseverance to study law, one of the most difficult things you could possibly study in a foreign language for the majority of us, and in a legal system that is very different to the one that we were used to back at home. But we weren't the only ones making those sacrifices. Our close ones made sacrifices that were equally great. They lived away from us for more than a year. We had a lot of long distance relationships put to the test, romantic or otherwise. So, thank you. So today, I just want to say, on behalf of our whole class, to all of our close ones, all of the husbands, wives, parents, siblings, all of the friends that we couldn't speak to nearly as often as we wanted, we couldn't have done this without you, and your contribution to our success was more valuable than you can imagine. It was easy to believe in ourselves when you believed in us first. So our success is also your success, and this ceremony is also a ceremony of your own. Thank you so much for all of your support throughout the whole year. Now, with all of those sacrifices in mind, I think we have to address the question of, was it worth it? And judging by the smiles of everybody here, the answer appears to be yes. So what did we get out of it? This is a question that we get often. What did you learn? What's the takeaway after that whole year abroad studying American law at Berkeley? And there's many ways to go about this, and there's many things we can focus on. But I'd like to focus on two things. One was Berkeley as a school. Now, we chose Berkeley because of the ratings. Some of us chose it because of California. We all knew it was going to be a great school. We all knew that the professors were going to be amazing, leaders in their fields. Some of us stand behind me right now. And that was definitely the case. The professors were incredible. But what made it special was the feeling that the school and the professors really cared about their students. We had professors who not only taught in a very clear manner, but who also showed us that they wanted us to succeed at every step along the way. And they did a really good job, I believe. We're all doing quite well in life. It's not bad, isn't it? The other part that I'd like to focus on very briefly is how inspiring the LLM year was in one aspect, and that was learning about the role of a lawyer in the United States. Brave lawyers, brave judges, which in the United States have played a really important part in society. From the Declaration of Independence of this country, the Constitution that's still enforced today, and even some of the most important changes in society and civil rights movement, those were all led by brave lawyers and judges who not only thought about what the law is, but what the law can be and what it should be. So those are large shoes to fill. You stand with a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You're standing behind these great men and hoping to continue that tradition going forward. And we've learned, many of us knew this coming in, but over the past 2 years, I think we've all learned that being a lawyer is not an easy job. Am I right? It takes a lot out of you. But everything that we've learned here at Berkeley has helped us. It has served as a bit of a torch to light the road ahead, keep you on a straight path, and make sure that we too, like the lawyers before us, can be custodians of our community's legal and ethical sense. And I believe that this is one of the things that brought us together, because we have 200 students, more than 50 different countries. Those are 200 individual stories. And regardless of our differences, different beliefs, different backgrounds, some of different political beliefs even, whether we are left, right, conservative, liberal, it didn't matter, because when it came to justice and the pursuit of truth, we were all radical. And thank you all. Happy graduation, class of 2020. I love you all.
Thank you so much, Christian, for those inspiring words. Next, we'll hear from the class of 2020 JD speaker, Lexi Heller. During law school, Lexi was the co-editor-in-chief of the La Raza Law Journal and a publishing editor of the California Law Review. She was a competitor on the moot court team and a research assistant to Professor David Oppenheimer. She also volunteered at the Tenants' Rights Clinic at Centro Legal de La Raza, was a member of the Restorative Justice Project at San Quentin State Prison, and was a clinical student in the Youth Defender Clinic of the East Bay Community Law Center. Upon graduation, she began working at Quinn Emanuel, where she focused primarily on plaintiff side cases. Please join me in welcoming Lexi.
Good morning. I want to start by offering a huge congratulations to the Berkeley Zoom School of Law graduates. I'm just kidding. It is so, so nice to be back. 2 years ago, via the class of 2020's website graduation, I gave a version of these remarks that I originally drafted the very same day we received an email telling us to leave campus. I thought we'd be back in like a week. Many of you knew better. Those of you who watched that video graduation might remember that I spoke about the power of hearing that phrase, "That's so Berkeley," how it gets thrown around a lot, often dismissively, and usually with an eye roll. Much of the world beyond this institution seems to think that we're too loud, that we push too hard, and that we expect too much. I spoke about how I hoped that our class would go out into the world and refuse to accept their reality. In doing so, we could make that real world look a little more like our beloved Berkeley. More just, more optimistic, more equitable, gentle, and kind. I predicted then that because we had earned law degrees and because we earned them from this institution, we would each hold a hall pass to the highest levels of decision-making and lawyering and influence. Even back then, I think we all knew if our next few years were going to be anything like our last few, we would be the lawyers who would hold a standard for this profession and for the real world that is so high that many people doubt our vision is even possible. And you know what? COVID has given us the unique opportunity to take a look back at how we did. I warned a few of y'all that I stalk you on social media, and I really cheer for you from a distance. Immediately after being dispersed from campus, we assisted in the effort to ensure that, in the spring of 2020, classes were not graded on a curve. We knew that it wouldn't be fair, given the pandemic's outsized impact on certain communities. We took the first virtual bar, after it was postponed multiple times, but not before organizing against it entirely, given both privacy concerns and issues of equity for test takers. In advance of this gathering, our incredible class presidents, Liv and Anya, I don't know where they are, administered a public interest travel fund so that classmates seeking financial assistance to attend this day would be here. Members of our class have also moved across the country, passed more than one bar exam, bought their first homes, started new jobs, and gotten married, sometimes to each other. We've appeared in front of juries, negotiated major contracts, and quit the jobs that we took first out of law school when we realized that they weren't what we wanted them to be. We work at preeminent public interest organizations, at startups, in the most powerful law firms in the world. We have members of the class of 2020 working in the White House and in-house. One of you convinced the US government to send a person home from prison after unexplained bureaucratic problems left him stranded there for more than 6 years. Many of you have worked full-time for federal judges, quietly advising them as they draft impactful opinions. Yet another has already run for public office. To me, it's clear. Everywhere we've been and everywhere we go, we bring that only in Berkeley spirit with us. We question whether what is what should be, and we refuse to stay quiet or be complacent when we find the answer to that question lacking. The world has pushed back on us, though, that's for certain. But being here in this uniquely Berkeley Law energy, the optimism, the joy, the camaraderie, it does remind me. The more that people roll their eyes at us and say, ugh, that's so Berkeley, the better this world is going to get. So when someone says that to me, I will continue to say, thanks. My classmates taught me that. And the real world better get used to it. Thank you.
Lexi, thank you so much for those wonderful words. Our next speaker is the 2021 LLM graduate, Deepika Rekhavar. Deepika received her first law degree in India at National Law Institute University. She holds a postgraduate diploma in business management. She worked in-house at Unilever, founded 2 startups, and worked as a partner at Mitra & Brahm before her LLM degree. She is currently working with the Cyber and Strategic Risk practice at Deloitte. Deepika graduated in Berkeley Law with her LLM and a certificate of specialization in law and technology. Please join me in welcoming Deepika.
Oh, this is awkward silence. Thank you very much for having me here. Dear fellow students, congratulations for marking this day as a history during this unprecedented time. It's my absolute honor to speak today in this forum on behalf of the graduating class of 2021. I'm excited and humbled by this opportunity to speak from my heart and share my emotions today. When the pandemic disrupted the world in the most uncertain, disturbing way, this group of people fought many fights, both internally and externally. For many of us, getting admitted to UC Berkeley was a big ambition. We realized it through hard work, determination, and perseverance. The decision to join at the brink of the pandemic for 2021 batch was probably one of the most difficult yai or nais of our lives. In last few years, we faced many challenges. We face challenges like global and political upsets, the language of hate and struggle, and the difficulty of failing and sick. To struggle the law school in an online environment was really a tough deal for many of us living in a wide time zone diversity. The confusion was real. When in a hybrid online, offline model, in-person model, what days to wear the mask and what days were not to wear the mask was always confusing to me. The world went crazy learning new online vocabularies like virtual connect, breakout rooms, Zoom fatigue of all. The graduates would empathize that these uncertainties are not over yet. The road to future is tough, but it is through the disruptions, confronting the challenges, and probably taking one day at a time. Law school in an online environment wasn't fun. But you know what? Every tough time has a capability of teaching you something. As they say, law school won't teach you everything. To me, probably taught 3 things which were never in the books. The first, rough times should not break the spirit. We learned something. We learned something way more amazing and bigger than the pandemic. We learned that we all are gifted with hope. We corrected our morals and demonstrated agility. We know we became the change and positivity the world needed that time. The second big learning through my academic journey was a precious lesson. Competition can take you only to a certain level. It's the collaboration which is going to take you everywhere. What a better validation than the pandemic graduates. We collaborated meaningfully and made it the best year of our lives from the point of view of learning, networking, irrespective if it was offline or online. I learned the magical words, the magical icebreaker words. If you go to a person whom you're meeting and you don't know if they're Berkeley, the easiest icebreaker is go Bears. The third lesson I learned is the value of deep empathy, approaching life with a mindset of curiosity and not judgment. Be curious, be kind. We have a privilege of carrying this great institution's name on our degrees. We have a big responsibility to nudge the world for a positive change. End hate, accept everyone, and never being afraid of standing for what is right, irrespective of it being online or offline. My lessons changed my life. I hope they help you too. I'm sure we will part with these values as a forever promise to our alma mater. We will be the class going to be defined by a top-notch resilience and courage to work through the toughest scenarios. I congratulate all of us and thank your faculty for keeping us afloat. Thank you, sir, for all your details, conversations, mails, and keeping the morale really up. Oh, by the way, on a parting note, I want to use this prestigious podium to make many of us heard. No magical words, but I believe in humanity, and I want to echo again using this podium. It's my freedom, it's my voice. If it's my body, it's my right. Thank you.
Deepika, thank you for those insightful and important words. Our final graduate speaker from the class of 2021, JD Jessica Williams. Jessica is originally from Los Angeles and currently works at Cooley in Washington, D.C. During her time at Berkeley, Jessica served in leadership roles for the Women of Color Collective, Law Students of African Descent, California Law Review, Berkeley Journal of Gender, Law, and Justice, Berkeley Law Alternative Service Trips, and the Student Association of Berkeley Law. She was a student at the East Bay Community Law Center's Consumer Justice Clinic and graduated certificates in race and law, as well as public interest in social justice from the Thelton E. Henderson Center for Social Justice. Please join me in welcoming Jessica.
When last we spoke, gentle graduate, I ended by thanking everyone who had gotten us to that Zoom room. But this time, that is where we begin. That's right, we're going to do more of a CREAC than an IRAC. You know what I mean? So thank you once more and evermore to those who got us here, whether in 2020, 2021, or this morning. To our family, friends, mentors, teachers, supporters, we continue to be unable to do this without you. And of course, I do not want to forget to thank one more critical group of people. Thank you to the people who are not here. If you graduated in 2021, I encouraged you to move through your legal career with a mantra, TBD, to be determined no matter what. We did some textualism to get to the bottom of what that means, and since I did not want to disappoint you with this commencement remix, yes, we're going to do more statutory interpretation today. Today, we will try to identify the purpose of that TBD statement. Why are we to be determined? Well, a lot can change in a year, or even two. For example, it is possible for us to gather in the Greek Theater to celebrate commencement this morning. As another example, many who were with us when we graduated the first time simply are not anymore. For me, and for many of you, we stay determined for the people who are not here. But who is that? There are a few options. For example, the first person you thought of when I said the people who are not here. That is who you are determined for. Family and chosen family who have passed on since our first commencement. Ancestors for whom you are their wildest dreams. During a Supreme Court confirmation hearing that was far more representative of the legal profession we hope to join than those we witnessed during our time at Berkeley Law, Ketanji Brown Jackson reminded us often of one of her reasons to be determined, Constance Baker Motley. This is to say that one of the people who are not here may be a collective ancestor whose life and determination inspired you or made your own possible. You may be determined for the client you met during clinic or in your first few years of legal practice. Or perhaps you stay determined for the person you met before law school whose experience so resonated with you that you vowed to seek justice for their community through legal solutions. And every day since then, you have done precisely that. Until this point, we have only explored what it means to be determined for the people who are not here insofar as it applies to the people outside of yourselves, ancestors, clients, and communities. But it may well be that you remain determined for who is within, for yourself. You have committed yourself to this path for the bright-eyed idealist you were before you started law school, full of the big dreams that usually accompany college graduation, no matter how many years prior that was. Some of you are determined for the you of yesteryear. Now, of course, wizened by 1 to 2 years of practice, not to mention more than 2 years of a pandemic, you have fully embraced Dolly Parton's ethos of pouring yourself a cup of ambition, and even more so, the yawning and stretching and trying to come to life. If you are giving, oh, the places you'll go energy before law school, you're giving more summer spent buried under a pile of bar prep books on this side. I ask you please to be determined for that person from before. But just as much as we do this for the people in the past who are not here, let's do this for the people who are not here yet, those who are yet to be. Sure, I mean this in the be a good ancestor way that Stacey Abrams talks about, because of course we should remain focused on the future and its possibilities. But I mean it even more in the you contain multitudes way. Multiverse movies are a helpful illustration here. In everything from the Spider-Verse to Everything Everywhere All at Once, our protagonists are meditating on the path not taken. But, and I hope this is not a spoiler, the resolution of those stories is not just acceptance, but exuberance over the path taken. In the multiverse, anything is possible. Apply this to yourself. Be determined for the you are becoming through each and every step, teachable moment, and conversation. You are possible. Every moment is an opportunity, and any future can come true. Those experiences are fortifying us for the person who is not here, the you whom you are becoming, the you who is yet to be. So once again, and finally, I think, to the people who are not here, to every single one of you who is, to the past, present, and future, thank you.
Jessica, thank you for those wise words. I'd now like to introduce our faculty speaker, Professor Kara Bridges, a superb teacher and scholar. Professor Bridges graduated as valedictorian from Spelman College. She received her JD from Columbia Law School and her PhD with distinction from Columbia University's Department of Anthropology. Professor Bridges teaches criminal law and family law at Berkeley Law, among other classes. She's an outstanding and beloved classroom teacher. She has written 3 books and many articles concerning race, class, and reproductive rights that have appeared in the most prestigious law reviews. This year, she was chosen by the editors of the Harvard Law Review to write the prestigious foreword to this year's volume, which I have heard described as like being elected to Hall of Fame of law professors. Please join me in welcoming Professor Kara Bridges.
Welcome back home, graduates. So the JD and LLM classes of 2020 and the JD class of 2021 all started law school in the before times. And y'all were in the middle of that spring 2020 semester when the world turned upside down. And yes, that is a direct reference to Hamilton. As many of you likely know, every respectable commencement speech refers to Hamilton either directly or indirectly. So I was torn between saying something about the world turned upside down or not throwing away your shot. I went with the former, thought it was more powerful. So the JD and LLM classes of 2020 were thrust right away into a brave new world. Meanwhile, the JD class of 2021 was forced to enroll in the Zoom School of Law before being forced out into an uncertain world. Go virtual bears. And then the LLM class of 2021 spent their entire time at Berkeley Law in one Zoom room after another. Many of you took classes in different time zones, sometimes in the middle of the night. For many of you, this is your first time in Berkeley, California. Resilient. The fact that you are sitting here today in all of your cap and gowned glory means that you are resilient. I applaud your resilience. But if you bear with me, I want to make a case against resilience. What do we even mean by resilience? Now, sometimes when we say that someone is resilient, we mean that they are tough. We mean that they are able to withstand adversity, trauma, and tragedy. And if that is what resilience means, then you certainly are that. You have weathered so much adversity and trauma over the past few years. Indeed, many of you are here despite tragedies in your life. So when I say that I want to make a case against resilience, I don't mean to deny that you are resilient as in tough, but I just don't think we should have to be tough all of the time. I think that we should actively work to create a world where our survival does not depend on whether or not we can be strong for long periods of time. We should be able to be soft and tender and vulnerable. Not 100% of the time, of course, but like often. We should have to be tough only in exigent circumstances, not every second of every day of our lives. Needing to be tough should be the exception rather than the rule. And so as you continue your legal careers, I want you to know that it's okay to not feel and to not be tough all of the time. And I want to encourage you to use your legal expertise to fashion a society that allows people to be delicate and sensitive and gentle. At other times, when we say that someone is resilient, we mean that that person has bounced back. They went through something difficult, and then they were able to almost immediately assume the form that they had before the difficult event. I say this from the bottom of my heart. I really do not think that we should try to be resilient in that sense of the word. I want to make a case against resilience. Like all of you, I retreated into my home when the stay-at-home orders were issued in March 2020. I remember going days without leaving my house. I remember going to the grocery store to get food, and half of the shelves were empty. The toilet paper aisle was definitely empty. I remember walking by the shuttered doors of the restaurants where I used to grab lunch and dinner, and I remember longing for a meal that I didn't have to cook myself. I remember Zooming with my mom, dad, brother, and sister in South Florida and wishing that I could just hug them and be in the same room with them. And I distinctly remember longing for the way things used to be. I remember wanting to get back to the way things were. You know, the days when I would wake up and hop on the BART and go to ballet class or a hot yoga class, or if I was feeling squirrely, both. Then I would grab a salad from Sweet Green and a venti iced tea lemonade from Starbucks, and then I would change into an amazing outfit with carefully selected accessories and amazing heels, and then I would head over to Berkeley Law to teach the classes that I so love to teach. I remember desperately wanting to get back to the way things were, y'all. I was hoping for resilience. But I really don't think that we as a society should try to achieve resilience. I don't think we should try to go back to the way things were. The way things were so unfair to so many people. The pandemic presents us with this terrifying and magnificent opportunity to do things differently. For example, we could be resilient when it comes to the way that we treat people who cause harm to other people, and we could keep responding with police and prosecutors and prisons and probation officers, or we could not be resilient and decide to imagine and erect a more humane system. And we can be resilient when it comes to the way that we have treated the environment, and we can keep extracting and exploiting and polluting and encroaching, or we could not be resilient and recognize that our survival is wrapped up in the survival of the planet. And we can be resilient when it comes to the stories that we tell about poverty. We could continue telling the same old stories that we have always told, stories about how poor people are poor because they are lazy or don't like to work or are promiscuous or are criminally inclined or feel entitled to handouts, or we could allow the pandemic to inspire us to tell different stories. These different stories would explain poverty in terms of jobs that used to be there, and then for reasons that have nothing to do with the effort of the worker, just go away. Poverty could be explained in terms of interrupted supply chains that increase the cost of goods, including basic necessities like food, like formula. Poverty could be explained in terms of illness, be it physical or mental, and the inability to access the healthcare that can help manage the illness. Poverty could be explained in terms of large-scale macro forces that are well beyond the control of any sole person. I think we should try not to be resilient. I think that we should try to do things differently. After Aaron Burr fatally wounds Alexander Hamilton in that infamous duel during the second half of the musical, Hamilton, who has in fact thrown away his shot, says, "Legacy, what is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see." Let's work on making our legacy a world that responded to the wounds inflicted by COVID-19 by becoming simply more just. Now go do justice. Thank you.